Peace and blessings, family. Majesty Ocean here. It brings me so much excitement to be able to hop on to another episode of Majesty Speaks with you today. Today, the topic I'm going to be discussing is of womb wisdom, and I'm really going to be diving deep into this journey that I have been endeavoring over the last year and a half after I cut the ties of a 5-year relationship and really allowed the unraveling of this beautiful womb wisdom to continue to come up and speak in so many different ways. And today I'm going to share a little bit about my journey with you all. So as we know, we are beginning to shift seasons, and this is something that I find is so powerful, is understanding that we reflect the cycles as well as the seasons, and understand that there are certain moments in our lives where they are just for a season. And then it is when we switch seasons where we can really understand the power of releasing and letting go to make way for new. And this is such a beautiful thing that I feel we can learn and reflect when we really begin to take a look at nature and understanding that we are the elements. We are Neteru, air, fire, water, and earth. And there are so many things that we can learn from when we really just take a look at the cyclical nature of how things really play out. And a little bit about the Mayan tradition is that they are focused on the cyclical seasons, right? Understanding when is the best time to plant all of their crops, and even to really understand the transitions in time when there's moments for release, and understanding the power in having these ceremonies consistently as we continue to go through so many different trials and tribulations in our lives. We can go back to these practices to really allow us to really gain that sense of clarity and wisdom to guide us in the direction that we are going to next. And I had such a profound experience yesterday that I really wanted to share. And I actually have really been just honoring my womb in a different way like I never have. And I've really been diving into so many different womb practices that have really allowed me to heal from all of the emotional overload that I experienced coming out of a 5-year relationship and experiencing such intense betrayal and grief and confusion that the only thing that really allowed me to really overcome these circumstances was being able to surrender to the process and allowing myself to really heal my womb and connect to her in a way like never before, right? I even just had this vision of me just protecting my womb in a way that I've never have, especially being a girl who experienced sexual abuse as a little girl. And this began to reflect into my relationships as I began to get older and reflecting those relationships that were not serving my highest good. But again, they were all for a season to really instill this new wisdom, right? This new understanding and inner knowing of what it really is to be a woman and tap into that beautiful, intuitive nature that we have to create worlds, to even guide and continue to just be the light amidst all of the chaos that we are experiencing in our lives. But again, honoring the contrast of the polarities that allows us to continue to ascend. Right? Like the spiral, the more that we go inside of ourselves, the more we can allow for that deeper inner knowing and greater wisdom to continue to expand. And as I have continued to be calling in more authentic connections and relationships, I've really just been feeling into the power of sisterhood and allowing your sisters to be there for you, to lean on when you're going through these transitions, especially experiencing so much pain from so many men, right? There's a lot of things that I can say about the things that I've experienced, but it is very important for us as women to set those boundaries and honor ourselves and really find that sense of self-respect and knowing that even though we can see these people in their highest light, we really have to see them for who they are, and we have to protect ourselves because inside of us there's so much that we can, we can begin to channel, right? There's so many things that are meant to be birthed through us. But when we find ourselves overgiving and are in environments where they're really draining us of our energy, we are then not able to fulfill the purpose that God has for us. And this is something that I've really been feeling into, is understanding that it's okay. It is okay to let go of people from the past that you have spent so much of your life with and evolving with. But a lot of the times there's people that ascend at different paces, and if someone is not willing and allowing themselves to really rise up to the occasion, then it is okay to leave them behind, especially if there comes with a lot of disrespect and not being able to honor you as an individual and what it is that you have to bring. And again, I even have been feeling into the power of reciprocity, right? Understanding that it is okay to give without feeling the need to receive something in return. And that's something that I've really been feeling into, because as a woman, it is so easy for us to overgive. And I've really been understanding just the power of giving without really needing anything in return. Like giving all the love that you can possibly give and just allowing them to keep all of the love, because people need it. They need this type of authentic love now more than ever. And understanding that God is able to provide and give you everything it is that you need in due time. And this is something that I find just so powerful, is understanding that God is the source of my supply, and everything it is that I desire and I need will come to me in that divine timing. And there's just something that is so beautiful to be able to tap into that inner knowing, that stillness, that safety that is felt inside of the body. And this is something that was a very, very big program that I had in my mind, just feeling so much scarcity, feeling so much fear. And as I've taken this time to really just connect to myself, I've really been able to confront all of these emotions and being able to understand how to alchemize them into greater knowing and into safety that is felt within the body, within the womb space, and really just surrendering, right? Surrendering to this vision that is gifted upon your life. And I know a lot of the times we may have this vision that is planted in our minds that we want to create, but sometimes we're going to be guided and directed into a completely different journey that is still aligned with what we truly deeply desire inside. It just may not quite look like how we envisioned. And yesterday I did a beautiful release ceremony using some indigenous practices that I have been learning from my beautiful sister Paloma. And she really began to explain the power of free bleeding and kind of guided me through her practice that she has learned from the indigenous tribes out in South America. So I finally got my bleed and decided to partake into this free bleeding practice, and spent majority of the day laying outside in my backyard with a towel laid down, just allowing myself to release without having any tampon, any pad, any underwear, just allowing her to really release. And it was just such a beautiful reminder to surrender and allow the body to flow as she flows. And I feel like a lot of the times we are so contained and almost closed off to experiencing the power within even our menstrual cycles. So when we experience this free bleeding practice, it really allows us to continue to break through those limiting paradigms that we have in our minds that really disconnect us from experiencing the power of what it is to feel this release through our menstrual blood. And again, as we continue to shift through the seasons, I always feel this very big energetic shift, as well as a greater expansion, almost like I'm having to shift the gears as I continue to go on to this next journey. And this ceremony of release was a really, really big part in diving deeper not only into my womb wisdom, but also in understanding how this is reflected in allowing yourself to surrender during those moments of transition. Another beautiful part about this is aligning to the cyclical nature of your body, understanding when there are times that are needed for you to rest, then for you to continue to gain more energy, to connect, to play, to create. There are seasons for us to accomplish all of these things. But a lot of the times when we are not connected to this cyclical nature, we begin to feel so disconnected, so frustrated, and a lot of the times not creative enough to take on these things that we truly, truly desire to create inside of us. There is something so beautiful about really being able to take the time throughout your day to allow yourself to connect to your body, to your spirit, and really begin to listen to what your body is saying. And this is something that has really allowed me to really transform my life in such a beautiful way, and continuing to really just reflect and bring so many beautiful offerings as well to my family, to my community. And this is something that I feel like every woman should really be able to experience for themselves when they're aligning to their cyclical nature. And something that I find so powerful is understanding that we're not only connected to the earth planes, like yes, we are Neteru, right? We are air, fire, water, and earth. But the womb is connected to the entire cosmos, to the universe, that really allows us to really tap into this greater awareness, this greater knowing. And there's so many women that are willing and ready to continue to take the actionable steps to create this beautiful vision of this new earth and new world that we are creating for the future generations, not allowing the generational traumas that really live inside of us to continue to really pour into the children that we choose to have one day. And as I begin to reflect just the own healing that I've done in my own life, I actually took the time to read over my book, Sacred Vision, and it was such an interesting moment to reflect on a book that I had published about 3 years ago, and really had been writing the poetry over the last 10 years. And a lot of the poems really still reflected a lot of the things that I was still creating, and I began to really even witness a lot of the things that were still reflected in my last relationship. And I had already been writing of all of the pain and betrayal back then, and it was just a pattern that I continued to allow to happen until I was ready to really just let it go and really continue to dive deeper into my healing journey. So I have my book, Sacred Vision, The Hurt and the Healing, here with me today, and you can actually get a copy of this book on Amazon. And this book is actually a collection of poems that I wrote over the last 7 years or 10 years now, given that this book was published 3 years ago. And it is really a reflection of all the things that I experienced, from trauma to healing to travel to community to love, and really being able to be of service as well. So I'm going to share one of the poems that continues to speak to me as I was really experiencing again that betrayal from someone that I deeply, deeply admired and loved. But it was just such a beautiful way to continue to alchemize all the things that I was experiencing and being able to share it with you all through this book. So, wow, there actually are a few. Feel me in this moment. Sit with my pain. Understand the trust that has been difficult to grasp. Infinite amount of love given but not yet received. Internally, if only you can sit in my heart for just a moment and realize that I am yours. What makes me feel good? The sight of your smile gleaming so bright as you shine up my world. The thought of my king. The warmth that rises from your chest as I pull myself closer. Feeling like our souls have traveled together for this very moment. But are you capable of loving me to my desires? Take the time to really get inside my mind. Be present. Allow the wisdom and power of one another grow into the depths of our connection that is ever so changing. Capable of love yet to discover. Becoming one in one another. birthing everlasting creation in the world of our desires, what really matters. The virtual games that you tend to play, acting as if they don't exist in the physical world, yet my stomach turns at the thought. Entertainment or alignment, sit with the choice that will determine the moments spent here. And my physical presence, a touch of heaven, kisses of pure sweetness and sex of sacred exchange as you dive furthest into the sacred portals of my universe. I let you in, protect me, bring me peace, treat me as who I am, your majesty, a queen. Hold me to my highest regard, shower me in kisses, sweet words, and affection. Allow me to show you how love really feels. Do you care to be loved to the greatest depths known, or left to be taken this course of life on your own? Wow, truly is honestly so interesting just reading this poem that I literally wrote probably about 3 years ago. And it honestly feels so good to be able to say that I finally was able to leave a relationship that was not good for me. And to be able to really just read this and reflect and understanding that I am okay exactly where I am, and I will reflect that divine mate in due time when the time is necessary. But again, to be able to really just go through this book and continue to feel into all the beautiful shifts that continue to happen, and to trust into the journey that is ever unfolding. Thank you so much, family, for tuning in. It's such an honor to be able to share my experiences with you all. If you'd like to learn more about womb wisdom as well, you can go ahead and check out my community page at lunarformation_ on Instagram, as we will be having more offerings coming very, very soon. And we will also be having our monthly SOMOS Activation that will be happening on October 19th at 10:30 a.m. as we will be working with the beautiful Mayan medicine of Cacao to allow for heart expansion. I will be guiding us through some sensual stretching as well as dance to really activate that Shakti energy within us. And my beautiful sister Andrea will be guiding through some sound healing as well as a powerful breathwork session that is really going to allow us to transmute all of that suppressed emotion and continue to tap into our highest selves. I send you all so much love, and I'll catch you all soon.